with the COVID suspension of lack of competition, this was in its infancy, the show that we were going to do a year ago. What that did is it gave us an extra year to redesign and re-examine and continue to refine and develop the program that we gave our students to perform this year. But I'll tell you what, it was probably early in the season that the staff and I would look at each other and go, yeah, this has a chance to be really special. And I think as we would talk to our students throughout the season, as we could tell that they were growing into the performance and growing into the show, that they were elevating the show to a higher level of students, then things start to really click, that there really was a chance here to be not just something special with a number or a score, but to define us as a program and to elevate the art form and the activity. And when you have all those components put together, special things really do happen.
Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Both exhausting and exhilarating. I moved here for the marching band, and being able to participate in this activity for 4 years has been the biggest honor of my life. And then being able to be a Grand National Champion is even a bigger honor. It's absolutely insane.
I felt like I was dreaming. When I knew, like, oh my word, you've done it, I literally did not feel real. I was convinced that someone was gonna wake me up, tell me that my nap was over and I had to go perform finals. It was just surreal, because you sit there and you hold your friend's hands and they call 12th place and it's not you, and they count down and they count down, and every name that's not yours you get a little more hopeful and anxious. Even when they called Carmel as second, I was like, I don't believe it till I hear us called first. With a score of 98 and then it just blew up. Everyone was freaking out.
With a score of 98.
It was the most magical, happy ending moment. Like, I never thought I'd have that moment, because a win's never guaranteed, but to know that for a moment we were the best in the world at what we did, it's something so special, and I'll remember it forever.
Honestly, the only word to describe it is just tears. Everything that we've put in, all the work we've put in, all the hours, and in that moment, you just have everything hit you. And it really wasn't about the score. I felt it more after the performance. When I pulled my horn down, I just started crying. I couldn't stop, I just started crying. And I saw people stand up and clap and scream and hold up signs, and I saw random people's faces that were on big boards. It was so surreal. And when we heard the score, I'm a nerd. I knew we broke the record, and I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it was our show that did it. I couldn't believe it was after COVID year, and I was in shock.
We have a design team, and it's led by our program designer, Wes Cartwright, who is the magician that comes up with the visual look, the concept of the show. And The Edge of Eternity, it was intentional in its title to allow each performer and every person that gets to view the show to have their own interpretation of what does that mean to you. And what that did for our kids and for the audience is it did make it very personal. And so that allowed our kids and our performers to really show a tender and emotional side, an exuberance when it's very joyful. Couldn't be more proud of how our kids showed that range of emotion as young adults.
Color guard is always taught that we are like the soul of the show, because the band has to march in time and play in time, but we have the honor of getting to be the expression of it and getting to dance and show the emotion. And from the very beginning, we were just told elegant, longing. We didn't really know much more than that, but in the end, that was all we needed to know. I think that's what was special about it, is it meant something different to each person.
You listen to all these marching band shows that have ever happened, and you hear the trumpet solo, and that's the iconic moment for me. I've always wanted that. And to have the opportunity to actually get that was awesome. It was a little nerve-wracking, but I got it in finals, and I played it exactly how I wanted to, and it was awesome.
Having not been to nationals since 2018, there was You know, not a lot of people knew what was going on, including the seniors. You know, we hadn't been there since we were freshmen. So I think we spent a lot of our year trying to help them understand how big Grand Nationals will feel. Like looking up into those stands, it's insane to see all these thousands and thousands of faces looking at you and waiting to see what you're gonna do. So we were just trying to prepare them for that moment, make sure they felt ready, felt comfortable, made sure they knew they had a team behind them to support them.
There's always a lot of talk about Indy and the experience and how much fun it is. And I think this year my goal as a senior was just to be with my section, to love them and have as much fun as we possibly could. It was just awesome to make memories with the people I've been working with for a really long time. And to see all the freshmen and sophomores and juniors who I kind of like brought up just start having the best time of their lives, you know?
This community, I mean, is unbelievable. To know how our community in Broken Arrow has supported our band program year after year after year, decade after decade, and to have a welcome home party with a police escort coming into town, and to see, I mean, it was a sea of people as far as you could see once we rolled into the school that were there to support and celebrate these incredible student performers.
I think when I look back at it, I'm just going to remember family. You know, that'll always be the first word that comes to mind, is the family that I've created in this program and the family that I'll have for the rest of my life. And I plan on keeping in contact with all of these people. You know, my little sister was in it too, and just family. This whole thing's a family. The whole experience is just a family. One big family trip, and it was awesome.
I'm going to miss, I know this sounds cliche, but it's true, is the people. You know, the special moments aren't when you're repping part 2 for the millionth time. It's when you're on a water break and you get to spend quality time with your friends. When you work that hard alongside each other, you form a bond that's like nothing else. And I think that's what I'll miss, is that bond with people, knowing that you created something beautiful together.
10 years, 20 years from now, I'll remember that at that moment in time, that as great as the band was through those different performances, that everything that could possibly click did in their finals performance. There's a set of benchmarks right after another where this happens and it's like, oh, I hope we get to this next moment, and they do it really well. And then you get to the next moment, it's like, well, we're home free if we can get to this moment. It was, to me, a transcendent performance that I was not watching high school students perform. I was watching young professionals do what they really love. At the end of the day, it's the students, it's the kids, the performers, committing of themselves to do something that's bigger than the individual, to give of their needs for something that's bigger than themselves. But I tell you, these 300 members of the Pride of Broken Arrow, I've never seen a group in all the years I've taught here that have risen to the occasion like these students did, particularly in their finals performance. It's something that will make the hair on my arm stand up for years and years to come. And being able to feel that 50 yards up at the top row of the stadium, where I could feel that from the performers, and I know they did as well. It's something I'll never forget.